Hey everybody, League of Legends patch 12.22b has come out. This is the first hotfix to the preseason. To read the tweet here, some specific changes to languishing jungle champs and fixing a few bugs. Micro patch going out this Arvo. Arvo is like an Australian thing for afternoon. I did check and it is live for me, so hopefully it is live for you guys. What's in this patch? Well, going from the top, we have a buff to Ivern. See, the issue with Ivern right now is that while most champions can keep healing in the jungle and stay at full HP by even the mid game, Ivern can't. He is the only jungle champion who has to actually go back to base because he literally cannot heal on the jungle. So the cost of his passive has gone down considerably. In addition, for the first time, at max rank, he will have no cost whatsoever to his passive. Now, remember, Ivern clears the jungle by using his health and his mana to put a mark on the jungle and then clearing it. Ivern can't heal on the jungle because he can't actually do damage to the jungle. So you understand the issue here, right? Okay, Ivern's shield on Daisy killing Dragon will no longer break Dragon Soul and Terrain. There was a bug here, I'm not going to explain it. So then we have Kindred. Her Q attack speed has gone from 25% to 35%. I'm going to be honest, I don't know why. Somehow Kindred was doing really bad in this preseason, and for once in my life, I don't really understand or know why. So I don't know, guys. For once, I can't make one of these videos and tell you guys why. I don't actually know. I could maybe look it up if given time, but it seems like such an irrelevant thing to look up. Amumu is doing really poorly because, obviously, with no Sunfire, a lot of tank champions are doing really poorly. They singled out Amumu is doing particularly poorly. So the cooldown reduction, that's whenever you hit Amumu with an auto attack, his E, his little, like, spinny spin attack, that thing gets reduced cooldown. The amount that the cooldown gets reduced has gone up from 0.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds. So Amumu will be breakdancing a lot more. In addition, the base damage is going up 10. So particularly when clearing the jungle, he should have a much lower cooldown and clear the jungle much faster. And in his first initial fights, he should have 10 more damage on it, which is good. And as the game progresses, he's going to have a much lower cooldown. It doesn't scale amazingly or really at all, but it is more damage. It does help him out in the early game. Maokai, who shockingly with no Sunfire can't deal any damage and kind of struggles to clear or do much of anything or even be a relevant champion anymore. Yeah, he sucks. Sunfire nerf and removal and nerfing old tank items across the board. Expect to see, I was right, by the way, because I'm always right. The new tank items are considerably weaker than Sunfire was, okay? So that means across the board, basically every tank has been nerfed. There's a few exceptions like Shen, but yes, overall, every tank has gotten weaker. So, Maokai's slow on his empowered E is going up. I don't think that was the issue, and I don't think that's what was making him weak, but there you go. The amount it scales on HP has gone up from 0.6% to 0.9%. The amount of AP has gone from 2% to 4%. So the slow on his empowered E has gotten its scaling considerably buffed. Once again, I'm not sure that was like a really big, change that needed to happen, but okay. Rammus is getting his base armor and his W, that's his defensive stance. The base armor is going up and the base MR is also going up. So to explain a third time, yes, Sunfire was basically the only thing that was keeping tanks relevant. Tanks across the board had the weakest base stats, the weakest everything. Tanks sucked, but they had Sunfire, which was making them good. Then Riot said, we'll add new items that are just as good as Sunfire. They weren't even close to as good as Sunfire. They weren't even half as good as Sunfire. So we can see 3 tanks are being buffed and expect a lot more at the horizon. Shaco had a bug. Boxes deal bonus damage to monsters again. His boxes weren't dealing bonus damage to monsters, which, as you can imagine, a jungler who has a box that does AoE damage tends to be very important that it does its actual AoE damage so that he can clear the jungle as a jungler. That was kind of a run-on sentence that probably was not as funny as it was in my head, but there you go. Jack Show, the weakest piece of shit in the entire fucking game, is getting buffed. The resistances per stack from it stacks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. The resistances goes from 2 to 3. So instead of capping out at a meager 16 armor and magic resist, it now caps out at an insignificant 24 armor and magic resist. making it still way weaker than Sunfire ever was. The resistance is at max stack, so after 8 seconds, you then get a 15% magic resistant armor boost. That has gone from 10% to 15%. Now, I remind you, you still need to be in combat for a full 8 seconds with a champion to get that stack. Unlike good godly Sunfire, you can't stack it by being in combat with multiple opposing champions. You can't really stack it faster at all, period. You somehow, as a tank, need to find a way to live for 8 seconds in League of Legends. That's quite difficult. And even if you do live for 8 seconds, Jack Show still gives you armor and magic resist, which get shred to pieces. So it's kind of good first item before they get armor shred, and then it starts falling off pretty much immediately. Unlike Sunfire, it doesn't really reward tanks for staying in combat for a long time because they tend to just do such low sustained damage at that point that they become irrelevant. Unlike godly Sunfire, which actually solved real tank issues of dealing with heavy healing champions, Jack Show just gets out-healed, and you will do absolutely nothing to champions with Divine Sunder and stuff like that. Do I keep sounding salty? Well, I am a bit salty because removing Sunfire and giving tanks, well, nothing to compensate for it was a dick move. So, Radiant Virtue, that's the tank item that when you ult, you gain HP and then you heal everyone around you. Radiant Virtue now has a max health heal ratio increased from 1% to 2%. So instead of, I think it was like 1% doubled to 2%. If you're at low HP, it was 2% healing every 3 seconds. It's now 2%, which should then be doubled to 4% healing every 3 seconds. So that is up to, if you're at low HP, it's like a 1% heal per second for 9 seconds after ulting. It doesn't really sound amazing when you put it that way. You can heal, like, if you're at low HP, you can heal maybe like 9%, 10% health, which is like, it's not bad, but when you phrase it like that, especially with things like healing debuffs, when you phrase it like that, it's not really that amazing. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure why they thought healing like 5% of your health was going to be a very big deal. In addition, remember, after you use it, you get ability haste on your non-ultimate abilities. That's been increased from 15 to 20. So does this make it good? Probably not. I mean, to be blunt, I think Jack Show, just through pure stats, might be relevant now. Maybe, probably, I mean, it'll probably at least help out Kosante, who Kosante had to go Jack Show just because of how his kit works and how he needs resistances, and then he just sort of fell off and did nothing because, like, he did no damage. So now he'll get more armor and magic resist and then way more, and maybe if Kosante can, like, get into his ultimate, he can convert that, like, giga stack of armor and magic resist into, like, heavy damage on his kid, because, like, when he ults, he turns it into damage, and then it also helps his passive do more damage, and then helps his Q do more damage. So, like, maybe, but then, like, the issue is he has to use his ult every time, and if he doesn't use his ult, he doesn't deal any damage now because he doesn't have Sunfire. Radiant Virtue. Radiant Virtue. Okay, this item was really bad. I looked it up on practically every champion. It was supposed to be doing good on. It was, like, monstrously underpowered, and I don't think this is really going to save it. I mean, it's a good buff, don't get me wrong. It definitely makes ulting with Radiant Virtue, like, do a lot more, but, like, the amount that it was underpowered, I don't think this is fixing it. Rod of Ages is getting 400 less gold on its combined cost. So much like I was saying throughout the entire time this item was being released, Rod of Ages sucks. It's armor, health, and ability power, and that's it. They did add the movement speed buff to it, which is, like, neat. Like, when I read they were adding that, I was like, oh, that's cool. At least it does something. But it clearly wasn't enough to actually save this item. When you compare armor, health, and magic resist. No, sorry. Armor, health, and mana. I don't know why I said magic resist. When you compare, why am I saying armor? Because I was talking about tank items for so long. I have armor, health, and magic resist in my head. Okay, let me try this again. When you compare health, mana, and ability power to all the shit that the other mage items do, it comes up short. And it will never, in my opinion, they're trying to make it good by just making it super cheap and a super cheap stat stick. Maybe that does make it relevant, but, like, you compare it to Landry's, or you compare it to the root item, or you compare it to Landry's, or you compare it to Landry's, or you compare it to Luden's, or you compare it to Landry's. The issue is it's going to come up short, because other mage items do so much and this one does not. It's just health, mana, and ability power. And yeah, I'll admit, like, the movement speed was a neat addition, but did that save it? No. So Ravenous Hydra, much like I expected, is monstrously overpowered. I actually have typically seen Ravenous Hydra used on like 40 to 60% of champions in the game. Like, I typically see 2 to 3 champions on each team getting this item right now. It's pretty goddamn overpowered. All they're doing is putting the combined cost up by 100 and reducing its max damage from, you could get up to 89 damage, and now you'll get to 85 damage. That's not nearly enough to balance this item, in my opinion. The only thing I can think of is maybe it'll help because the cost is going up, but I think they're going to have to... They removed 4 damage from the max stacks. All they got to do now is peel back the base damage by 5, and they'll do the nerf that I said they should do. It had about 10 damage too much. So here's 4. There's 100 gold cost. Peel back 5 damage on it. Huh. My pocket looks weird right now. And you got it, right? Like, okay. So that's the first hotfix patch, and that's my thoughts on it. You know, yeah, that's it. So, you know, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I got headset hair again. I notice it every time. It's because I do these videos after I stream all day with my headset on. It kind of pisses me off, especially because then I go rub it, and then I notice my head hurts like a lot. Oh, my head hurts like so much, dude. I need like a different headset or something, because like I started noticing the other day like how much my headset like actually just presses into my skull. Anyway, yep, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you guys later. Bye bye, everybody.